When it comes down to losing fat, everyone knows what habits they need to do to actually get into the best shape. Habits being exercise, moving around, calorie deficit, making sure you're eating whole healthy foods. But no one really talks about the worst foods and the worst habits people might be implementing that is detrimenting their results when it comes to fat loss. So today I've got a whiteboard, I've got a bloody espresso, and we're going to go into the worst habits you can be doing when it comes to getting lean. Let's get it. Oh my God, that's strong. Now, if you're seeing this for the first time or you don't know who I am, my name's Siadai. I've been working out for upwards of 5.5 years now, both doing MMA, bodybuilding, running, all sorts, and indulging in the hybrid lifestyle. But I've also cut down to 9% body fat, a process that taught me a lot, but also showcased to me all the good things to do and then also all the bad things to do. So I'm, again, going to be showcasing to you all the worst habits you can do when it comes down to losing fat and getting lean and getting into that peak athletic shape everyone wants. Right, let's rock. So habits number 1 is saying yes to everything. Yes to everything. Just to emphasize my point, we're changing the marker color. Everything, it's red. You know, everything, and I mean everything. If you're saying yes to everything, that's going to be a problem. Here's why. So when it comes down to losing fat, you need to understand that you need to have a structure. You need to have a certain protocol. And of course, you're going to be presented with so many opportunities, so many situations where you will be offered things that will take you off track. Things being, hey, do you want to go out for dinner tonight? Hey, do you want to go out and go have a drink or something like that? Something that will be taking you off your goal. And for most of this, we're going to go through, let's say your goal is fat loss, right? If you wanted to go ahead and lose body fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. But if you keep saying yes to people saying, hey, do you want to go get a drink? Yes to saying, hey, do you want to go out and get food? More than likely, you're going to be having food that just isn't going to be fitting into your macros and your calories. And overall will be steering you away from progress. So learn to say no. I know it's difficult. I know, but at the end of the day, you can't be saying yes to every single thing that pops up because again, that is just going to be either a distraction or something that is going to deter you from actually seeing progress. Now, habit number 2, cutting too many calories, cutting too many calories. So there is such thing as an aggressive cut. Now, for those that don't know what an aggressive cut is, it is basically where you take your body's maintenance. So for math's sake, we'll say 2,500, and typically you might do 2,100 calories, maybe 2,200 calories, maybe even 2,000 calories if you wanted to cut down and be in a calorie deficit. And that is through dieting, right? Now, if you were to take that 2,500 number, so 2,500, that is your maintenance right there. If you were to go ahead and do an aggressive alternative, so an aggressive cut might look like going from 2,500 all the way to 1,800, so that's minus 700 calories. That is going to be a very drastic thing, and it's going to have effects. It's going to have effects. And if you're trying to cut body fat and maintain your health, then by all means, an aggressive cut isn't the best option, and here's why. When you put your body into a state where it is in a sub 700 calorie deficit, now there are ways you can go about doing it. Going about doing it might be strength training so you hold on to muscle. Going about doing it so you're giving yourself enough fats to make sure your hormones are regulated, but also giving yourself enough protein so you're actually holding on to that muscle. Like there are things to go about doing it, but if you're wanting to, again, go into losing body fats, but you wanting to do it in the best way possible, doing an aggressive cut with no knowledge is going to be one of the worst things you can do. So again, number 2, cutting too many calories. I would highly avoid doing that. Now let's have an espresso break. Let's get to it. Number 3 is spiking glucose too early in the day. Now, why is spiking your glucose too early in the day going to detriment your results? So when you go ahead and spike your glucose levels, it is like a roller coaster. It goes all the way up and then it goes all the way down. And the best thing you can do in regards to maintaining your glucose levels and keeping them at a good, healthy level is by keeping it at a very steady state. Now, if you are starting your day with a bunch of sugar in the morning, a bunch of orange juice, for example, sweets, sugary cereals, that is going to send your body into a high where you're going to have a lot of energy. But as all things, if it goes up, it must come down to a certain level. So if you're spiking your glucose, and imagine this, you wake up, so this is the waking up point, you have breakfast around here, so this is your glucose levels. We'll change the marker colors to make it realistic. Glucose levels go all the way up, so this is when you had that very sugary breakfast, and then it'll come crashing down. And mind you, this is like your base level glucose levels. This is what you want it to be like. But if you have high sugar, it will crash all the way down. This right here is going to be low energy, not the best when it comes to performance, and overall, this is going to spike cravings as well. So what you need to do when it comes down to spiking glucose and making sure you don't do it too early in the day is, if you are going to have some sugary sweets, have them after a big meal or have them at the very end of your day. Ways you can go about doing this and making sure your needs are satiated is by having a very high protein, high fat, low sugar, maybe even low carbohydrate if you want to breakfast. Now, if you are training, this is a different conversation, but if you're training later on in the afternoon and you just want a nice healthy breakfast that won't spike your glucose, therefore make you crash in energy, make you have more cravings, then having things like eggs, salmon, protein, chicken, those kinds of things that are very high in protein, high in fat, and again, it can have a benefit where it benefits your brain health, for example. Like eggs are very high in choline, great for your brain. Salmon, very high in protein and fat, omega-3 fats, great for your brain. Get where I'm coming from. So starting your day with a very high protein, high fats breakfast and staying away from all added sugar is probably one of the best things you can do. So that's point number 3. Okay, so point number 4 is poor sleep. That's meant to be an L. Bear in mind with me. Okay, so here is why poor sleep is a bad habit to have when it comes to getting lean. So understanding that when you put your body in a stage where the sleep quality just isn't the best, then that's going to have a direct effect on your hunger levels. So if you wake up, you have a really shit sleep, and if you look at the evolutionary standpoint, right? So you wake up and maybe you've been running from a tribe or running from a tiger, for example, your body will be signaling to your brain, okay, we need to have food, we need to have energy, we need to have nutrients. And it's going to signal to your body, okay, we need these things. And if you look at a modern day society, that just means we need to go eat food. If you're eating too many foods, it is going to be harder to stay in a calorie deficit. It's going to be harder to stay lean and therefore lead you to not being able to stay on track when it comes to your goals. So having good quality sleep is going to take up more time of your day. So that's going to be less time of you thinking about cravings. Number 2, it's going to put your body in a state where you're actually able to rest, relax, and not signal to your brain, okay, we need food. This is like a state of survival. It's not going to be in that state, right? So poor sleep, making sure that you fix it, that is going to be one of the most important ones out of all of these that I'm going to talk about. Now, point number 5. Managing stress. Now, again, if we were to look at the evolutionary example, right? You are getting chased by a tiger. You're getting chased by a tiger and you just are super stressed that you don't want to get eaten by this tiger, right? This is the situation. Now, your body will realize this. Your body will realize, okay, we might be running away from this tiger and we need to hold on to as much fuel as possible so we have the energy to get away from this tiger. Now, when it comes down to fuel, what fuel do you have readily available on your body at all times? Fat. Now, when it comes down to it, we do not want to be holding on to fat when it comes to getting lean. We want to be getting rid of it. So if you can manage your stress levels, so manage your cortisol, which is the stress hormone. I don't know how to spell it. It's fine. If you can't manage this, then losing fat is going to be even more difficult. So when it comes to actually managing your cortisol levels and managing stress, doing things like going for a little walk, just calming yourself down. Maybe not having coffee too early in the morning and in a fasted state. Maybe not doing high intensity training every single day and training maybe 4 to 5 times a week, but at a good intensity level, not training ultra high endurance reps. When it comes to your cortisol levels, this is the baseline of your cortisol levels. Like this is a normal amount, right? This is your waking point. This is when you go to bed. Now, when you wake up in the morning, your cortisol levels are very, very high. That is good. We want that. Now, it will slowly start trickling down to a low state throughout the day. However, if you, like let's say you're going through here, maybe you go to the gym at this point, then maybe it'll come back up really, really quickly. And then slowly again throughout the day, it will get lower and lower and lower. And you want it to be below this line by the end of the day. Now, if you're doing coffee, let me write this out. If you're doing coffee, cortisol spike. If you're doing a hit intensity cardio session, cortisol spike. If you're doing stimulation and you're constantly looking at screens very late at night, cortisol spike. If you're doing a hit class at the very end of the day, for example, cortisol spike. And then when it comes down to it, this is where your cortisol level is. You want your cortisol level to be all the way down here when it comes down to managing your stress. And getting, again, good quality sleep is going to be even more difficult. And I don't even need to touch on why good quality sleep is so important because of the last point. So managing your cortisol levels will be very important when it comes down to actually losing body fat instead of holding on to it continuously. Point number 6, the all or nothing mentality. Now, this might seem really motivational, right? Think of David Goggins, like you either go fucking ham or you don't go at all, those kinds of things. That goes good when it comes down to exercise, but when it comes down to eating and maybe having a meal off, a cheat meal, for example, that is going to be one of the worst mindsets you're going to have. So imagine Monday, you're good. Tuesday, you're good. You're staying on your diet. Wednesday, good. Thursday, Friday, these are all good. This is like a good baseline level. This level right here, this is a good. This is bad. Okay, I'm going to have a little cheat meal. So maybe it like goes up there, a little cheat meal, that's okay. But if you have the all or nothing mentality, okay, well, since I had one meal off, I may as well just go fucking ham and go balls to the wall. Cool, cheat meal, and boom, you're not in a calorie deficit, you're not getting lean. So understanding that you can have meals off, you can have this little meal that is outside of this constant, but understand that this one thing does not mean you need to go balls to the wall and have a full cheat day and blow 2, 3, 4 weeks of progress out of the way just because, again, you have an all or nothing mentality. So understanding that you can have cheat meals, you can have meals off, but that does not mean that you need to have a full weekend binge. Now, point number 7, skipping weights. When it comes down to having a lean, athletic build, the build that everyone wants, you need to understand that that comes with 2 different things. Low body fat, so getting lean, but also strength training, making sure you have muscle. Now, the interesting thing about muscle is it burns more fat at rest. If you have more muscle on your body, you're automatically going to be burning more fat, more calories while at rest. So there's going to be a benefit there. Number 2, it will make your physique look even better. So if you're skipping weights, you are basically going to end up as either looking very anorexic or you're just not going to be looking how you want to do. If your main goal is just weight loss, like you're starting off very, very obese and you're wanting to cut down, that's completely fine. But again, strength training is going to be one of those key crucial elements to have when it comes down to getting to the physique that you want. And then also assisting with getting lean. As I mentioned, fat doesn't burn nearly as many calories at rest as muscle does. So the more muscle you have on your body, the more calories you burn at rest. Therefore, getting into a deficit will be so much easier. And then therefore, skipping weights is a no-brainer. Like, why would you actually go ahead and do this if you're serious about your fitness goals and looking your best? So that's point number 7. Now, point number 8 and the final point, drinking calories. We can all understand. I'm going to show you right now how easy it is. I could drink this entire liter of water very, very simply. I'm not going to drink the entire thing, I was just thirsty, but for demonstration's sake, drinking this entire thing will be very, very easy. But this also could be an Oreo shake. This could also be chocolate milk. This could be full fat cream milk. But the entire aspect is this is going to be so much easier to drink, no matter what the content is, compared to having good quality whole foods, foods with fiber, foods that are going to fill you up even more. And if you are wanting to be in a calorie deficit, I bet you are going to be hungry. And if you're going to satiate your needs with this, something that might be very calorie dense, like an Oreo shake, but you're doing it in liquid form, it's going to be so much easier to drink this entire thing and then therefore realize, okay, I just drunk 900 calories, but I could have had 900 calories worth of chicken, sweet potato, cottage cheese, avocado, things that are actually very nutritionally healthy for me, have lots of fiber, but also will keep me more full. So avoid drinking calories. Now, when it comes down to it, talking about all these things, these are all great, and I talk about a lot of these in depth in my coaching program, but at the end of the day, say yes to everything. You don't want to be doing that. You need to have boundaries. Cutting too many calories. Understanding that if you are going to go into an aggressive cut, you are more likely to crash out and binge. Number 3, spiking glucose too early. If you spike your glucose too early, you are going to have a glucose roller coaster. You're going to go all the way down, and then that's going to cause you to have more cravings, and then therefore eat or want to eat more calories, and then therefore getting lean is going to be harder. Poor sleep. Again, if you're putting your body into a state where it's poor in regards to its sleep quality, then it's going to be in a position where it's going to want to have food to make sure that it is good and good to go. Number 5, managing stress. Again, if we're looking at the same concept as poor sleep, understand that when you are trying to manage your stress, it is going to be holding on to body fat. And if your stress levels are ultra high, that's what it's going to do. If it's low, then it's going to be very, very happy to go ahead and build muscle and shred body fat. Number 6, all or nothing mentality. Understand that you can have a cheat meal. It is okay. And you don't need to turn that into a full weekend binge. Number 7, skipping weights. If you want to have that lean athletic physique, burn more calories while at rest, then you should not be skipping weights. And then number 8, drinking calories, making sure that you're getting all your calories from food instead of liquid, because again, consuming liquids is a much easier process and doesn't fill you up nearly as much as full foods do. Now, these 8 different points genuinely helped me a lot when it came to my personal fitness journey, and I genuinely think it could help you out. So if you found value from this entire video and me rambling on for however long this video has been going for, then by all means, hit the subscribe button, keep watching this, because me and this whiteboard, we're not done. We're not done. And even though my espresso is empty, again, I'm going to be coming back with another one of these, a full blank whiteboard, and dropping you guys even more value in the next one. I'll see you in a bit.